Right on, writers. Welcome back to Books by Adrian. I am your host, Adrian Santiago, and this is Write the Damn Story, the final episode. We were supposed to do this last week. My apologies to everyone who was expecting this last week. My Wi Fi was not cooperating. Moments ago, I did a speed test and it was rocking good speeds, and now, not so much. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. It's just whatever's. Trying our best. I'm still working on getting this whole Wi-Fi situation changed over. But for those of you who are not subscribed to my newsletter, this is why Livestream Sunday is delayed a little while because I want to fix this whole Wi-Fi situation before we dive into that. Okay. I don't want to waste too much time today. I am an author. I wrote a thing. This is a thing that I wrote. It's a prologue and lead into my upcoming debut novel, Mythic, Shadow of the Spark. It is available on paperback as well as ebook, which I love to show off, but I'm never ready for. Yay! Get it on ebook. 99 cents on your ebooks. Links are down below. And the novel that it leads into is officially up for pre-order. The cover is being designed right now. I was actually corresponding with the artist earlier today, and I'm very, very excited for you guys to see what we have cooking up. Let me go ahead and bring out my esteemed co-writers and co-hosts. We're going to do it in reverse order today. Let's start with Mr. Mike DeFrench, author of Amphetamine Daydreams. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing good. Doing very good.
It's very good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, I missed it last week.
Yeah, I missed it too, man.
Let the people anticipation.
Know. Yeah. You had to wait for the finale. All right. Tell the folks at home who you are, where you're from. What do you got going on these days?
I'm a writer from Indiana. You can check out a lot of my stuff on Amphetamine Daydreams on Substack, or search the same thing on Amazon or wherever you buy ebooks or audiobooks. Lots of stuff out. DeFrenchWriter.com is my website. It needs updated, but it has links to everything there.
And the links to that is down below. So go check that out, guys. Next up, Senor Martin Lejeune.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, yourself.
I am a writer from the UK. I wrote these.
You did indeed write those. And? Where can they get them?
Drunk, edit sober.
Fair enough.
They're on Amazon.
Get them, y'all.
Hey, Shannon.
Hello to the chat. We've written the bloody story. Today we edit the bloody story. So calm your tits. RC Scott, welcome.
Unlike Richard, who hasn't written anything since August.
Uh-oh. Actually, he's back. He's back in the seat. He's writing again. He's doing great. Yeah, man. If only it was that simple to just plug it in. Yes, This was research for my novel. For those of you who are curious, there's a romance subplot, and I had to research. Jennifer, hello, welcome. Good to see you. Shannon, thank you for the like. I appreciate it. Some praise for Mike's hair. Par for the course. Let's sewing shut. Why? All right, Shannon, get your work done. Handle your business, as they say. Stephanie, welcome. Good to see you. All right, gentlemen, today we are doing 2 sprints in which we are editing each other's work. There are...
What could possibly go wrong?
Absolutely nothing, as far as I know. So here's what I was thinking, and you guys let me know how you feel about this. Since Martin wrote the intro, first act, I wrote the second act, and Mike wrote the final act, I was thinking that we do a whole like pass your paper to the right type scenario where Martin would edit my section, I would edit Mike's section, and Mike would edit Martin's. And my thinking is that by editing the section that comes after your own, you're able to put in little payoffs to setups that you put in your own section. Mike, in your case, you would be able to insert setups to payoffs that you put in to your section. And the goal in us editing each other's sections is to kind of meld our voices together, make it sound a little more cohesive, as though we all are one writer, even though we're not. So my question to you is, do we use both sprints to edit the same section, or do we switch again in the second sprint? What do you guys think?
I think it would make them more cohesive.
Sorry, Mike, you first.
I guess it would make a more cohesive whole if we each touched each section at least once. I guess that's what I was thinking.
Kinky. Martin, your thoughts?
I worry that one sprint won't be enough to get through a whole section, but we'll see how it goes.
Mine is pretty short. Yes, man. How else are we going to get this done? Hey. That's a good one. What is... Oh, he's breaking out into song. Okay. I was confused with what the hell was happening to RC for a second there.
And now you have to pay royalties because he did it on your channel.
He didn't sing it out loud. He just wrote it. That's fine. And piecemeal too, like different. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm actually going to be on RC's channel next Sunday, doing I don't know what, and I'll be on Amy Rosenfeld's channel this coming Friday, probably talking mostly about my novel, which I'm very, very excited about. And this Tuesday, everybody, don't forget, Tuber Book Club is back. We're discussing the first half of Dulcie's Legacy by Margaret Pinard. So, lots going on this week, lots going on next week. And over the course of the next 2 months, y'all are going to see me everywhere. I'm going to be ubiquitous because, the book's coming out. Hey, Anne, Sophie, hello. Hello, welcome. I am not listening to you speak. I am reading you writing. All right. What? Stop it. All right. So here we go. Let's set up the sprinter. Gentlemen, be sure. Oh, I'm sorry. We didn't settle. Are we? Mike is for switching it in the second sprint. Martin doesn't think we're going to get through the whole section in the first sprint. So
I'll give it a go.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Let's go ahead and see how far we get in this first sprint and call an audible at the end of it. If that sounds fair.
Quick question on logistics.
Yes.
How are we doing this?
Well, I'm going to share my file with both of you. You share your files with both of us. And was
I supposed to save that?
I hope you did. Brits. All right, let's see here. Allow me to share. All right, let's send an email. This is, I know, riveting streaming, but please bear with us, folks. This is all part of
you ain't seen nothing
being
yet.
co-authors. Yeah, yeah. Wait till we're just writing.
Yeah, wait.
And Martin,
Took 20 minutes of just editing.
Martin, you have to actually edit.
Martin,
you can't just compliment me and be like, "Oh, it was very enjoyable," and not actually edit anything. You have to actually edit it.
So we just doing this on Google Docs?
That's how I'm doing it.
Okay. Let me just copy and paste mine in there real quick.
Word, big bird.
Docs.
All right. All right. I've given you both editor rights on the document. I have sent it. You should both have it in your email. While we're doing this whole switching of documents, passing it around and stuff, a quick I guess we can take this moment to warn each other about things. So when I do a first draft, my first draft tends to be a lot of "and this happened and then this happened" kind of stuff, because I just want to get the story out. And then in my second draft, I tend to, flower it up a little bit, add in the colorful prose and whatnot. So I tried doing that as much as possible in this first draft, but that's not typically how I write. So as Martin, at least in the beginning, as you edit it, I would advise filling it in with some colorful prose, some description, giving it a little dimension, because right now it's very bare bones, this and that and that.
Don't tell me what to do. I'll decide what to do.
That's fair enough. You are the one editing. You can decide what to do. I don't understand why you have to get so aggravated about it. It's so aggressive. Let's calm down, man. It's not that bad.
Okay, I emailed you guys the link to my part, and I got Adrian's.
Fantastic. I believe I just got Mike's. All right, so I'm actually going to stop sharing that and start sharing this, because I'll be editing.
I mean, I kind of forget what I wrote. It's like 2 weeks
Good.
ago.
Yeah, no, it was a long time ago for us, for me too.
I mean, I just use ChatGPT.
That's all.
No, he doesn't.
I'm just throwing this into Grammarly and clicking accept all, and I'll be done super fast.
Accept all. Oh no. Oh no. What a mess that would be.
On the chat bit on.
Stop yelling at me.
What?
No, I don't see it yet. Oh, in the chat. I see it now. All right, stop yelling at me. All right. So I've got both of them now. Dismiss. Now I'm sharing Mike's here. Mike, you'll be sharing Martin's as you edit that one. Martin, you'll be sharing mine as you edit that one.
Oh no, I'm sideways.
There you go.
Martin, can you email me yours? Because I'm doing the streaming on my phone, so I don't have the chat.
Oh yeah, if he clicks that, it'll
Yeah, I just tried to do it and it disconnected me.
I can.
Yeah, you should have that any second.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Got
cool.
it. Got it.
I heard the vibration.
That's impressive.
All right.
Okay.
Love the confidence you have for yourself, Martin.
Ike Berliner.
Okay, so I'm editing Martin's first, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I am editing yours, Mike, and Martin, you are editing mine.
Yes.
Richard, why don't you just go ahead and tell us who you want to? I don't think it warrants a poll. Either way, I'm going to be, rotating it through. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I also need a timer. All right. Stop the timer. All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Are you guys all set and ready on your end?
Yep.
I was born ready.
Very, what's his name? Damn it. That would have been funny.
You thinking Batman? Bane?
No, the guy who does the action movies, the British dude does the action movies. He does the
Me?
shit. What's The one where he drives a car really fast and he picks up a girl. Transporter. What's his
James
name?
Bond. Oh, Dickie's favorite.
Is he?
Jason
Yeah,
something.
Jason
Jason
Statham.
Statham.
Thank you.
Jason
Now it's
Statham.
too late, but yes, I was just I was gonna make a Jason Statham joke. Anne's always here to be mean to Martin, but that's not yelling.
I had her on my channel for a sprint stream during NaNoWriMo, and she just wouldn't let me sprint. She was like, now we're going to talk about this.
Hey, Martin, on yours, if you don't mind zooming in a little bit on the document so that it's a little more legible to the folks at home. That's good. That's very good. That one's mine. All right, this one I should do the same. Let's get in there. All right. Cool. All right.
I'm beginning to wonder.
Mike,
if
whenever
maybe
you
I
can,
shouldn't
share
print
yours.
Back what I wrote.
Hey, that's not for you to worry about anymore, man. That's Mike's problem now.
Yeah, but
All
I
right,
can't
here we
remember
go.
what happened before your bit.
All right, so kicking off the timer in 3, 2, 1. Happy editing.
Changing things for the sake of it.
That's what editing is.
No editing, we die like men. Should there be a timer?
There is. I just can't share that many screens at once. Don't worry, I'll let you know.
Oh,
I'll shout out little tentpole time stamps. Me, Richard, that's who. Me. All me. It's my channel. The timer is 20 minutes. We are at 17 minutes now. That's good advice. Let's see. funny?
Just self-congratulation. I'm having to find a name.
Yes. I threw that at you like a hot potato.
Pick it up. Don't pick it up.
11 and a half minutes to go. Seven minutes to go.
You can't rush creativity, Ian.
I can rush it all I want. Whether or not you can keep up is another question. I'm not even halfway through this, so yeah.
I know, flawed by perfection, aren't you?
It's pretty good. How bad is it, Martin?
It is art. I'm surprised that you didn't rush out to publish it already.
Oh, please.
Are we going to publish this? Maybe give all the money it makes to the Sutton Orphanage.
I don't think it's going to make any money, but I'm happy to publish it if you want to. We can publish the last one,
Of course
too,
it
along
will.
with
You
it.
just have to believe.
Are you mocking me?
Maybe... Oh, I'd never. Maybe we can drop it on Mike's Substack.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
4 minutes. Three minutes.
Is this what you're like in bed?
No, I am way more quiet and brooding. Also, that's personal. Mind your business. Two minutes. Minute 30. All right. 45 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and call it. How'd it go, gentlemen? How far did we get?
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I got through it.
The whole thing?
Yeah, my
You show
section.
offs. Cool. All right. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I still have like maybe a third of yours to go. I just got to the point where he entered the room, the dead room. All right. So, since you guys both got through your sections and I almost got through all of mine, I'd feel okay with just trading off for this next round. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then I'll do Martin's on the next round. Mike, you do mine, and Martin, you'll do Mike's.
Okay.
Okay.
Nah.
I didn't have
Yes.
edit permission on Martin's, so mine's in like a other
Martin,
document.
fix
I
it.
copy and paste it in.
I think Martin can fix that for you.
I think I sent you a request. I don't know where that shows up.
Oh, Lord knows where that ends up.
It should be at the top of your screen when you're looking at the actual document, Martin. Right by the little
Oh, it
user
should.
icons.
I know it should.
All right.
Yeah, try.
You guys let me know when you're ready. We're just taking a little breather in between.
I think I got it now.
Cool.
Let me
Cool,
just...
cool.
Okay.
All right.
I should be good.
Cool. All right. So I'm doing Martin's. Martin's doing Mike's. Mike, you're doing mine.
All right.
Martin, I just saw your first note on his first. You're such a dick. His first note on my document is, "Ooh, I'm Adrian. I use a semicolon." It's not my fault you don't know grammar, Martin.
It's not the 1850s anymore, Grandad.
Is that the only note you made? Is that the only thing that you... I suppose I didn't actually make any notes. I just made changes.
Yeah, I just typed it in.
Yeah, most of my editing style is like adding stuff.
Yeah, same. Actually, for yours, I mostly had to delete.
It's also my first draft style is just adding stuff. Usually too much.
That makes sense. Bold of you to call someone old, Martin.
Now things are worse. Now there are two of them.
You started it. All right. Everybody ready for round two?
Yeah.
Go on then.
3, 2, 1, begin.
Oh, fucking hell, Mike. Not you as well with the semicolons.
Did I?
Do you just not know what it means? Actually, that's probably I added probably a semicolon.
Yeah, that's a seldom punctuation for me.
I know
I
what
do
a
believe I
semicolon
added
is.
at least. I do believe
No
I
one
added one.
uses them.
Well, I use them.
They're like
They are
tail.
when grammatically correct. I use them. Hey, thanks for joining us for as long as you
I
did.
bet you
Aaron.
never get hangovers because you still. I bet you never get hangovers
What?
because you digest with your appendix.
That doesn't. I don't understand that reference. I don't know what that means.
I think it's a colon joke.
Oh, that would
A
have been clever.
semicolon joke. Yeah, that would have been more funny.
Ugh. Google's hotkeys.
Well, Mike's having internet trouble. Dread it. Welcome back, Mikey.
Yeah, I don't know why it just keeps dropping. I have no idea.
Odd. Martin, I don't have edit rights on here, so I just sent you a request.
Oh.
You should have done this already. This is your fault.
No. You should have had it all set up with him, but no, you were like, let's not stream this week.
Martin, this is your problem. This is your problem.
Well, it seems like it's your problem right now, Mr. I don't have editing permission.
Well, I mean, if it doesn't get done, it doesn't get done, but it doesn't get done because of you. That's right, Richard. Curse you, Martin. Curse you. Oh, now I need to update this banner. It is no longer accurate. 16. From now, 16.
Right, now you should be able to edit. Everything else is now your own problem.
It better be, Martin. It better be. There we go.
Huh.
What is a pleb? Pleb.
An idiot, a simpleton.
All right.
We were discussing it last time.
Well, I'm going to
I
change
think
it to
Americans
idiots.
say plebe. Yes, water it down for the audience. We don't respect their intelligence.
If I don't know the word, I don't write the word.
What word?
If you don't know the
Pleb.
word, you're a pleb.
You're a pleb.
Oh, pleb. That's good
You've heard-
lingo. That's very much what his character would be saying.
I'm surrounded
Mike.
by people smarter than myself. I do not like this.
That's because you're a bit of a pleb.
Oh, Martin.
Also, I don't think we're allowed to call people plebs after that policeman.
The spirit of spring. A tenth of a Bitcoin. Riding on it coming out before June 10th. I love this shit. It's so stupid. Oh.
I was particularly proud looking back at the name of the drink.
You know, Mike, I gotta say, I like not being the one with the worst Wi-Fi in the room anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. It's like it says my Wi-Fi is good. It just keeps cutting out and cutting back in.
No worries.
One of you guys wrote thumber. Slamming his thumber down.
Definitely not me.
I don't know if it was meant to be thumb or finger.
No, should just
Or
yeah.
is that a British term? Thumber.
Not this time.
Yeah, Martin, stop Britishing up my text.
I've made a point not to.
You keep
Although
your,
I did a
your
little bit,
King's
that's funny.
English over there.
Oh, can you say that? That sounds so weird.
King's English?
Which one was it? Highlight it.
Yeah. Well, it was the Queen's English for the longest time.
Oh, the King's English.
And now you say the King's English. You're like, that's not the phrase.
How did both of you fit so much into your first draft? In my first draft, I'm always like just trying to figure out what the hell happens next. And you guys are putting like detail in here. Like just pulling this
Well,
out
if
of
you
your ass.
recall,
How
we
do you
discussed
do
all that
this?
beforehand.
I know, but still.
We had a plan.
All right. Hold on. We got to talk about one thing, though. Richard B.J. George. What?
Oh, yeah, I basically went, what would be the funniest set of middle initials?
I like it.
And
Richard
to be fair,
B.J. George.
there are... It seems that BJ appears as middle initials more than you would think, by which I mean I've seen it more than once. There's that guy on Office, BJ Novak, which, if they're putting that on television, you'd think they'd change it. And there was a stuntman on the Bond films called B.J. Worth, which is particularly chuckle-worthy.
You've got a lot of information in that dome of yours, Martin.
Well, yeah, and then I put it in these things and then profit.
We are at 9 minutes to go.
Oh, I'm not finishing this. Oh, I'm really not finishing this.
You're working on Mike's now, right? Yeah, his is long.
Yeah.
Mike gets the words down, man. It's all that soda. Look at him chugging.
Yep. Caffeine, dude.
Martin, is the reference to the author's trademark sex scenes a reference to me?
No, if you recall, there was another author who was somewhat of an inspiration for this tale. But since you now have a release date, maybe remark on which book you're referring to.
That would be Shadow of the Spark, my debut novel in the Mythic series, which tends to have a little brown chicken background.
Shadow of his spark. Oh, it made it through edits, did it?
Yeah.
Poor
I
sister.
decided to leave it in there. She's a grown-up. Deal with it. I love all your little nicknames for websites. Face Diary.
Yeah, what was it? Dread It?
Dread It was a good one. 6 minutes to go.
I'm going to need a bigger timer.
Done. You guys have 5.5 minutes left. While you guys continue, I'm gonna check in on the comments. Where's the interrobang? I tried putting an interrobang into my novel, and then I deleted it. It was too pretentious.
What? A what? What's an interrobang?
An interrobang is a combination of an exclamation mark and a question mark, as seen in this comment here.
Oh, what is that? What the hell is that used for?
Exactly what it looks like. A question that is also an exclamation.
Wow. How have I
Yeah.
never
Is that
known
Spanish?
It's pretty.
No,
Pretty
it's
sweet.
English. It's American English.
It just didn't catch on like the
No.
question mark and the exclamation point.
Yeah, you just write one back to back. People just do that, but there's an actual character for it.
Doesn't even get its own keyboard.
How do you even type that in?
Yeah, there's a code. There's one of those like alt and a number codes.
When I had my job interview, I was like, give me the job. I know the keyboard shortcut for trademark.
You're hired. Do you also know the one for copyright?
Isn't it just C in parentheses and TM in parentheses, and it will automatically?
Is it? Is it that simple?
I think it is.
No.
If you have autocorrect on.
014.
Oh.
Oh, if you have autocorrect on, yeah.
Yeah, if you do that, at least in Microsoft Word, it'll auto.
Mike asked his AI to write too much. That's why his was so much longer than ours. Martin, is that Spanish? Classic.
Update. Yeah, that works for trademarks, not for copyright.
3 minutes, gentlemen. All right.
I think that with my own writing, like when I go to edit it, one of the biggest things I do is breaking up monster-sized paragraphs. I will they'll get away from me pretty fast.
Yeah,
Go in,
I did that. I broke up a couple of your paragraphs. You had a couple run-on sentences too that reminded me of like Neil Gaiman, the way that he'll have an entire paragraph that's one sentence.
Yeah, I leave the sentences. I when I was doing some of my audiobooks, man, there were some hard ones to get out in one breath.
Yeah,
I was like, who freaking wrote this? It's insane.
Yeah, Ken Sean is beta reading my novel, and most of his input is about how to make sentences shorter. And he, he's all about get the word count down, keep people's attention. Even long sentences will lose people's attention sometimes. Just keep it short. Keep it short. He just shortens everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I do that to my own stuff a lot. It's almost like every other paragraph turns into 3 paragraphs by the time I'm done.
1 minute to go. All right, 20 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and call it. You guys wrap up any last sentences you need to wrap up. When did Martin get up and walk away? I didn't even notice.
I didn't either. I was absorbed in the editing.
Welcome back. We are done. All right. I am going to take Acts 2 and 3 and add them to the Act 1 document. And then the chat is going to vote on which of us is going to read it. I don't want to.
Don't say
Well,
that.
since
then
we
they'll
have
vote for
a
you.
professional,
Yeah, but neither does
narrator
Martin.
right here.
That's an excellent point. We do have a professional audiobook narrator.
And
right
seeing
here.
as the chat is entirely Dickie, who wants to
At
see
this
me
point,
fail,
Keep calling him Dickie. He's going to pick you.
oh, but you just
He
called
doesn't
him it
like
so
that,
well.
Martin. He doesn't like that. All right. Okay. The entire document is now all found on Martin's copy.
Hey, I'm going to delete it like in the story.
Seen here. Right? No, don't be a dick. All right. Richard votes for Martin. So, Martin, take it away.
I vote for Mike.
we could popcorn read it.
Explain yourself. What is popcorn reading?
I was just like an old school term. Basically, you would read it out loud as a class, and then somebody would yell popcorn, and then you'd pass it off to somebody else.
I like it. So then it's a surprise when the next one takes
read
over,
us
and if
off.
you're not paying attention, you're the loser. Yeah, I like it. All right, Martin, you're up first, and then we'll switch at some point.
Okay.
Yay!
Buzzed. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out the Andromeda 31. This year's model had more weight than last year's, which wasn't ideal, but he'd managed to grab an early release. And he was damn well going to use it. You fucks put a sentence starting with "and" in my brilliant copy. You bastards. Clicking the link, he was taken to a new post on Reddit, the popular link sharing site. Clicking the login, he typed his screen name, YOSHI. A rather droll take on a heroic character of folklore lost on the idiots who daily accused him of being a cartoon dinosaur. The article was an interview with Richard George, author of those popular books. Not much had been heard from the rotund scribe since the announcement of a cable TV adaptation a year and a half ago, but now it looked like, The Spirit of Spring, originally due in 2014, was delayed once again. Yoshi had a tenth of a Bitcoin riding on it coming out before June 10th. Several of his friends had picked a date and put money on it, like basic people do with pregnant ladies. He could kiss that crypto goodbye. It wasn't just missing out on the money, though. He, along with millions of other fans, had been waiting for the new book for years, constantly being let down by delay after delay, and an endless stream of broken promises from the author. Yoshi wasn't a huge reader, but something about his books really clicked with him. It was something about the way George perfectly blended fantasy and absolute horror. His torture scenes especially would have Yoshi disturbed for days after reading them. It was great! George was one of the only major fantasy writers who regularly went up for Stoker Awards for his fantastic horror. Well, at least when he was still publishing books. Yoshi would be so mad when he got out of school. He'd long into his personal rig, an RTX 4880, which he had paid ungodly scalper prices to obtain at the time, 32 gigs of RAM, a 2TB M.2 NVMe SSD, and an Intel Core i9 something. Not only could it play Crysis and any other modern and AAA game for that matter on ultra settings, 4K, 60 FPS, but it was also good for other computer-based activities.
Porn.
Richard Brian Johnson George had done a Q&A on Reddit 2 years ago, and Yoshi had managed to source his IP address. Like the aging wordsmith he was, honestly. Who didn't use a VPN? Had this guy not seen the sponsored section of a single YouTube video? It was a daring plan, and whilst it wouldn't help him with his bet, It just might work. He pulled up DOSBox and sideloaded a bit of software he hand-coded last year. He sat back and let the program do its thing, reaching over a small mini-fridge next to his desk without taking his eyes off the screen, felt the grey rubber seal and cold metal ridge, and pulled the door open and grabbed a cold can of Bitch Slapper, the energy drink he had won a year's supply of by sending a brute attack onto the competition's website servers.
Bitch Slapper.
He was in. Yoshi looked at the window in the center of his 42-inch 4K QLED monitor. He was looking at the desktop of Richard George. It contained a piece of fan art of an elf maiden in a chainmail bikini. That was total cringe. This man who he had idolized early on. They all had. This man, it turned out, was still running Windows XP. That only made things easier. He was able to move around this guy's whole system. What little there was of it, the old codger only had a single hard drive, and it wasn't even a terabyte. Where did he put his movies?
On VHS.
That's the joke. Yoshi clicked round his first few folders, but found nothing to do with his writing. In the main directory was a folder named Character Name, the same elf maiden that smuttily adorned George's desktop. Clicking into it, the folder contained a single word, 12 draft 6.doc. Holy shit, this was it. He had found the book that everyone was waiting for. He could read this right now here on his computer. Wait, who the hell wanted to read an entire novel on a computer? He moved his mouse and hovered over the print icon, sending a nerve impulse to his finger. He was moments from clicking the button when he remembered. He was remotely accessing the author's computer. It would print off in George's house and give Yoshi away. Close call. Taking another sip of the energy drink, he wiped his brow. Could he really do this? Should he? Of course he could. He'd been staring at the opening scene for minutes now. A resolution of the previous novel's cliffhanger that had been resolved with one of the author's trademark sex scenes. Yoshi had to give George credit. Unlike the elf maiden whose point of view the scene followed, he had not seen that coming. He closed the window. No, he could wait. He wanted to read the hardback when this was released properly. He wasn't like the feeble commentators on the blog. He could hold his nerve. Closing the window, he pulled up his browser, bookmarked to George's blog. There was a new update. Did someone know? George hadn't posted for over 2 years, and that was just to say he was migrating to a modern format from Base Diary, which had probably been kept the site running beyond its predicted life expectancy. This, however, was new. It was a photo of Daphne Wayne Bergerac, the actress that played Geltz on the upcoming television series. Whilst most fans fussed about the elf maiden Tanya, Geltz was a smart, sassy lady highway robber that got through the fictional kingdom of Brixia by surviving on her wits, charm, and other people's money. Everything that Yoshi tried to emulate in his daily life, except for the robbery. But the rest, sure. The blog was written in an odd way. It was saying that the next book in the series would focus on Geltz, but how she would overcome her greatest adversary. Oh, hell no! The last time a publisher put out a statement like this, it was about how the spy's boss in that big movie series had to face up to his past. This could only mean one thing. They were killing Geltz. Geltz? Yoshi chucked the mostly empty drinks can across the room where it ricocheted off the back of his closed door, splashing droplets over the carpet. He forcefully clicked the browser shut and restarted his software. Kicking back where he had been, he opened the manuscript and began reading. At just after 3:30 the next morning, Yoshi got to the last page where Elf Tanya literally swears on Geltz's grave. What was George, the obese sailor lookalike, thinking? He barely got through the book in a decade. He barely got through this book in a decade, and he actually thinks he can write another after he killed the most divine character put to the page? The nerve on this guy! The hubris! No, this wasn't going to happen. Not on his watch. Luckily for right-thinking fantasy literature enthusiasts everywhere, there was a man, a hero, in a position to actually do something about this. The fucker would rue the day.
All right, you want me to take over at this point?
And you take over at this point.
Yoshi watched the live feed of Richard George's home through the security cameras all about the smart house. Whilst he admired that his home was certainly a classic in its design and architecture, the smart house upgrades made for prime hacker fodder. Richard sat at his desk typing away, which served to infuriate Yoshi even further. Look at him, Yoshi thought, sitting there writing like he hasn't just destroyed me from the inside out. Jeltz deserved better. You, Richard George, deserve much, much worse. Like that dude from The Matrix who was really fast at typing, he opened up the infiltration program and began typing out the code.
That's the best line in the whole story.
Who put that there? With a stroke of the keys, he lowered the temperature in Richard's home from a pleasant 73 degrees Fahrenheit to a freezing 32 degrees. Richard George was placing a word after another word in an effort to write a story. This task had bested him in the past, but he'd had plenty of victories under his overstretched belt as well. Who put overstretched in there? He felt fairly confident he could write a story again. He'd just taken a sip of his rapidly cooling coffee when a shiver ran up his spine. He gasped when he noticed his own breath and the goosebumps on his skin. What the hell? Richard George rose from his desk and trembled his way out of the office and over to the thermostat on his living room wall. 32! He pressed the buttons furiously and raised the temperature back to where he liked it. There, he said. By the time Richard had returned to his desk, he was feeling much warmer, and warming by the second. Richard's home blew hot air from its vents. Wait, he thought, I turned down the air conditioning. I didn't turn on the heat. He was sweating before he could reach the thermostat a second time. 32 degrees? What the fuck is going on here? That wasn't right. Looking closer, he realized the readout was now in Celsius. Martin. He raced to his desk and searched through his computer for the number to IT. We can't do the conversion math. As he dialed, the phone line cut out. He reached for his cell phone. No signal? He pulled open an internet browser only to find that blasted running dinosaur. He slammed the phone down. Soon his computer shut off, and he was shivering again. As he made his way to the thermostat for the third time, intent on bringing the temperature back to a comfortable place, the lights in Richard's home blinked on and off at a rapid pace. The disoriented author bumped a shin into his ottoman and fell over. Fucking shittoast. Who wrote shittoast? Yeah, I don't know why I encouraged you to edit so much, Martin. This was clearly a bad idea. As he climbed back up to his feet, rubbing his shin, the blinking lights and burning heat made him dizzy and wobbly. He caught himself with a hand on the back of the couch. From somewhere in his home, a voice laughed maniacally. What's the matter, Dickie? Can't take the heat? Get out of the kitchen. I'll have it known I did not write that terrible line. That was Martin again. From shivers to sweats and back again, Richard couldn't get his wits about him. What's happening? Richard made it to the thermostat, squinting to see in the strobe of his lights. He adjusted the temperature again, then careful not to stumble, he walked over to the light switch and turned his lights off completely to keep them from blinking. Not so fast, a demon voice said. Suddenly, every set of blinds in Richard's home opened with a slam. His home was flooded with the bright light of day, nearly blinding Richard George. He covered his eyes with his arm and blinked through it all until his eyes adjusted. As he carefully made his way towards the window, his Roomba emerged from its home and the little vacuum raced to cross his path, stopping right where Richard was about to step. His foot tripped over the automated bastard, and he fell to the floor again with the crash of a Norwegian fisherman drunkenly falling to the lower deck under a pile of haddock. That is so specific.
Details. That's how this works. With details.
Details people understand, Martin. His arm was under him in an unfortunate position, causing his shoulder to dislocate on impact. He screamed in pain and agony, and the voice laughed hysterically. Who's there? Identify yourself, you little shit. Richard screamed to the heavens. He pulled out his phone again and tried dialing 911. He hit the call button. There was a slight click as the call connected, but instead of asking where to direct his call, a voice simply came back. Me. What the actual fuck? Richard George looked all around him. What do you want? You killed her, it said. What? You killed her, Yoshi said in his best ghost voice, the one he'd practiced on the Friday night live streams. Then he muted his mic to laugh as George lost his cool on the other side of the camera feed. Richard flailed about, running towards his bedroom. Who are you? Who are you talking about? You know what you did. You know who you killed. Who are you? How do you know about that? With another stroke of the keys, he made the doors in Richard's home all open with a start, then close with a slam. He opened and closed them over and over, prompting a bone-chilling scream from Richard. Stop it! Stop! This is too much fun, Yoshi thought. He punched in command after command, turning on every appliance in Richard's home. The stove, the microwave, the blender, the garbage disposal. One by one, the noise of the appliances grew and grew. Richard clasped his hands over his ears and screamed, Please, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. He ran from his bedroom through the door that continued to open and shut violently. Bumping into every wall and tripping over his own feet, Richard struggled against his haunted house. He moved through it as quickly as his wobbly legs could carry him and turned down a hallway. Yoshi adjusted his video feed to try to get a look at where he was going, but Richard didn't appear at the other end of the hall. Switching back to the original view down that hallway, Yoshi was surprised to see Richard disappear into a doorway he didn't have in the blueprints of the house. The door shut with a slam that reverberated through the walls. A moment of panic kicking in. You can't hide from me, Yoshi said into the mic. Come out! But there was no sign of Richard George. No sounds coming from him that Yoshi could hear. He reopened the blueprints of the house and looked for that hallway and what may lie in wait there. He only found enough space for a secret room, no actual record of such a thing. Only a space where a door might be. Do you think you can hide in a dead room? You cannot escape this. Yoshi logged back into Richard logged back into Yoshi logged back into Richard George's desktop computer and found the manuscript that had infuriated him so much. He highlighted it and hovered his finger over the delete button, the flat keys requiring only the slightest pressure to remove it all. Leaning in to speak into the mic again, he said, You think you can hide in your dead room? I'm the ghost of every fucking Christmas, and I'm here to stop you from killing again. Slamming his finger down, he hit the delete key, and the manuscript disappeared from Richard's desktop. With another click, he emptied the trash bin, and Richard's manuscript was gone forever.
I think there's a slight continuity error at the start of mine.
Yeah, it's okay.
It starts with him coming in. So imagine that all of the stuff with the, him finding out there was a second version of the manuscript occurred. So it's basically like when he decides to go back. Okay. When Yoshi arrived, the house went dark. Only a few dim lights visible through the windows, most of which covered with thin, pale curtains that Yoshi could hazily see through his vantage point in his car a few blocks down from the isolated house. Deleting the file had not been enough, satisfying in the moment, and yet the way Richard... Oh, it looks like one of you guys fixed it. And yet the way Richard had reacted had been odd. It was not his usual tactic, but he had come here himself. The house was so much smaller than Yoshi had expected, given that Richard's wealth had to have been insane. It was honestly much more quaint and plain from the outside, given how technologically set up it was on the inside. Yoshi sat there, enjoying the last bits of heat from the car before he'd have to take the short trek to the front door. He'd double-checked the surveillance equipment throughout every room many times, reviewed the footage of the rider leaving his house. It was time, and it was safe. He reassured himself of that yet again, though didn't exactly believe it, but told himself that he did. It wouldn't take long. That's what he really kept telling himself. This operation here would be quick and easy. Nothing much to it at all. In and out, he thought as he shut the engine down. He got his bag full of gear. everything that he would need to break through the security of the house, and a digital layout of the interior of the house, which he'd spent the entire night before meticulously creating. Heavily based on the surveillance footage, as well as the actual blueprints of the house, which he'd been able to find after some considerable digging. Only thing was that the blueprints and the actual layout that he could see for himself via the surveillance stuff, well, they didn't exactly match up correctly. Likely due to some later additions and changes that Richard had made to the house after he'd moved in. He wasn't the original builder of the house, Yoshi had easily determined early on, and the blueprints that he was able to obtain were seemingly from the original floor plans when the building had begun. But it was similar enough that Yoshi had confidence. He already was 100% certain of his ability to break in through the front door. He tested that functionality out remotely multiple times. Unlock and lock was simple. He was also sure that he knew exactly where this dead room Richard had posted about would be located. It would be the easiest and quickest break-in op in history, he hoped. But he had to get going. There was no more time for preparations, no more time for second guessing. It had to be now. So he got out of the car and walked through the chill of the air up to the house, a sense of excitement and terror growing in his stomach simultaneously. His heart racing. He could feel his hands getting sweaty under his gloves, and the sounds that his coat arms made as they swiped against his torso seemed much too loud and to echo much too far. But the occasional blowing of the cold wind in the air stifled the sound, and he continued to move fast. Not that he was worried about any neighbors seeing him. There weren't much for neighbors way out here, but because he was weary of taking too long. Sorry, I messed that up. Yoshi got to the door, his breath coming out in plumes of dense fog under the light out front, which in his hurry and overstimulated state of mind he'd forgotten to remotely disable before approaching. Too late now. Roll with the punches. Gotta keep going. He used his tablet to unlock the door, heard the click, turned the knob, and walked inside. Yoshi debated leaving the door open behind him just for ease of a quick departure, but decided against it, thinking that maybe a harsh gust would end up slamming it closed. So he quietly closed it instead, weary not to make any noise, even though he knew he was the only one in the house. But there was this persistent sensation of paranoia in his mind regardless. This feeling that he was being watched, likely due to the fact that he knew that Yoshi had already been able to see everything. The knowledge of how easy it was to get into anyone's personal network, no matter how secure they thought it was, it had ended up giving Yoshi the thought that he was always being watched, because at least in some degree he was always being watched. The house was unnaturally silent once the door was closed. The wind had been quite loud on his approach. He thought for sure that he'd still hear it, even with the door closed, but the house was utterly, completely silent, which was even more unnerving. But Yoshi let the adrenaline take over, and stopped letting his emotions and his thoughts interfere. Animal instincts, he wished for. He moved directly to the dead room, or at least to where he thought it was, and disabled all surveillance as he moved. It wasn't exactly down the hallway he thought, which did make his heart beat like a marching band percussionist, his palms quickly drenching in sweat. But he recovered, retraced his steps, went down to the next logical spot it could be, and there it was. A plain door, with multiple locks on it, deadbolts, padlocks, and a variety of chains and miscellaneous locks. But he was ready for this. He knew that Richard only kept the keys on him, and when he slept, he often put the keychain under his bed. But through the footage that Yoshi had reviewed, he'd been able to get the makes of every single one of these locks, and had spent several days mastering the various lock-picking processes needed for each one. He pulled out his lock-picking kit and started going through them one by one, not in a rush. Rushing the lock-picking process was not a good idea. Slowly, That was the way to do it. You go too fast, you try to rush, you inevitably fuck it up. So he took his time, and even taking his time, Yoshi was quite fast. It was his hyper-focused ADHD, definitely somewhere on the spectrum mind, that made him adept at picking up new hobbies or interests or skills and mastering them within the span of a few days. One lockdown. He started on the next, checking the time. It had now been 10 minutes since he'd entered the house. He wanted to be in and out within a total of 30 minutes. He was going a bit slower than he wanted, but it would likely still be alright, even if it was a few minutes longer than he wanted. He'd allotted some grace period in the estimates, but no time to dwell on that. Keep going, keep focused. 2 more locks down now, and he thought he heard something in the house after the last lock had been broken. It made Yoshi pause. Where had the sound come from? He looked around, holding his breath, listening, not moving a muscle, waiting for another sound. But nothing. He was trying to think of where the sound had come from, trying to remember. To his left? Down the hall he'd just come from? Behind him? Back to the front door? Or was it the wind finally making some noise? Fuck it, didn't matter. It was probably nothing. 1 more lock to go, and then grab the package and leave. Almost there, almost done. Yoshi had just started on the last lock when he heard some sound again, like a footstep, or maybe just something clanging against a wall somewhere. From inside the dead room? No. He paused again, but now he was really wasting his time. Yoshi went back to the lock. This time, he was trying to get it done fast. And just as he'd been trying to avoid earlier, he fucked the picking up right at the end of the process, and then had to reset the whole thing. He cursed under his breath, but it was a deathly quiet whisper. But he went back with utter focus and delicacy this time. Got it picked within a few minutes, and the locks were done. And just then Yoshi decided there was no point in redoing the locks when he left. That would add somewhere around 5 minutes into his process, and it wasn't like Richard wouldn't be able to tell that he'd been robbed. So fuck that part of it. But here it was. He'd fucking done it. He'd broken all the way into the dead room. This was the moment, his moment. Time to do it. Yoshi stepped into the dead room, not sure what he was expecting to see, but it was nothing that he could have imagined. Maybe he thought he'd see a writing desk of some sort, with Richard's ancient DOS writing machine of Lejeune laying on it, and some piles of books or bookshelves or something. You know, writer shit. But there was none of that. It was an eerily sterile feeling room, and gave him instant Dexter vibes. There was saran wrap all over the place and a single surgical table in the center of it. Whatever, maybe this wasn't his writing room. Maybe it was his weird-ass jack-off room or something. Whatever weird fucking shit that the super rich get up to, they must have need for a room that is completely isolated. But Yoshi wasn't exactly interested in whatever creepy fetish this guy might have. There was only one thing in this room that he was interested in, the manuscript. It was either on a flash drive, some external hard drive, directly on a computer somewhere, or, what Yoshi really thought, a bound printed version of the whole thing. Yoshi stepped into the room, instantly feeling a dread come over him, as if he'd made a terrible mistake. It was all in that first step. It was like crossing the threshold. This was it. One more step and it was full commitment. But if he turned around now, it would be like none of this ever happened. Pussy shit, he told himself, but didn't feel that male energy from it that he'd hoped he would. Didn't feel any sense of courage. In fact, he simply felt more afraid. But he went on anyway, despite the fear. And that was his last mistake. A few more steps in, and he could hear the crinkling sounds of his footsteps on the weird plastic covering that not only covered the floors, but the walls and even the ceiling too. And only right after Yoshi decided that this was a terrible idea, and that he would say fuck it and just go home, live the rest of his life, maybe even give up on all the hacking bullshit for a while, It was maybe a bit more dangerous than he'd wanted it to be, or maybe he'd just gone too far into it, and he was having these fast thoughts of, what am I even doing, and this is completely fucking insane. But it was already too late. He heard the sound of the door closing behind him. There was never a chance to look for the manuscript, not even a chance to turn around and see who it was that closed the door. Just a blinding pain in the back of his head. And then blackness. When Yoshi woke up, his vision came in waves of blurriness, and his mind came back in waves of intense nausea. Ugh. He tried to say something. Wasn't sure what he was going to say, but it only came out in a wretched-sounding gagging noise. No need to talk, a voice said. Yoshi thought the voice sounded familiar, but his vision was so blurry, and the lights directly above him were blinding and disorienting. Actually, the same voice went on, there isn't even a point to talk. You see, I have you strapped down to my little, I call it my imagination station. But really, it's an old dentist chair that I got when Dr. Carlisle in the town nearby went out of business. Of course, I've made some of my own modifications to it. And those tubes going into your arm, they're pumping in a special toxin that I have to get from a friend of a friend who has ties to the Mexican cartel. You see, it's a special kind of medicine that is designed to keep you sedated, as in you won't be able to move or talk, but it has no pain-killing effects. You can still see and feel and think just as normal. And I already know who you are, Yoshi. And I must say that all of your little childish antics were quite fun, but I have grown wearisome of them. And also, I need some new info on one last character I have to kill off in the next book. Let's say it's my final touch on the project before I'll send it off to my editor. And would you like to know a little secret of the trade? A little insight on how some of us writers get to know how to write exceptionally gory, truly nasty murder and torture scenes? It's simple, really. We use the real world. And you're the lucky one who gets to be the real world inspiration for this last death. And oh, I'm quite sorry, but it isn't one of the simple beheadings that I'm sometimes known for. No, this death has to be quite a lot more gruesome. So you will, unfortunately, have to endure a lot of pain before the end. It will be long, but I will make sure that you are remembered forever. In your favorite book series, no doubt. Of course, no one will ever know it was you that inspired the gruesome death, and no one will ever know what happened to the real you. But you can at least die knowing that in some way you will be immortalized in your favorite series. And I think that must be a reassuring thought. A dark figure stepped into Yoshi's view, holding some sharp surgical knife in its fat hand. But enough of the small talk. Let's get down to business. This is going to take a long time. And the last thing that Yoshi saw before the pain began was the silhouette of a bearded face, bright glasses, and a wicked grin full of yellow teeth. Next was the start of the pain, and it only got worse and worse, and it felt like death would never come. And when the voice spoke again, occasionally, as the instrument of torture was swapped out, Yoshi couldn't even tell what he was saying. There was only the pain, the hellish pain. The end.
Things definitely took a darker turn in the third act.
Yeah, that was
I like it.
actual gruesome.
I like it.
I was proper shudder by the end of that.
Richard, I do believe you posted this question during the third act, which was Mike's section. All right. Gentlemen, we have done it. We have written the damn story.
Heck
We have
yeah.
done the impossible, and that makes us mighty.
We've done it twice, you and I, Martin. Mike, this is a first for you, I think.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I like this. This is a fun show. And Mike wins, Richard. Mike wins. He wrote the
Anytime you
most.
guys want me to write a gruesome ending for a character, hit me up.
Who is the next guest co-host? I don't know. I don't know when this show will be back. It will
Oh
certainly
man,
be
we're
at least a few
cancelled.
months. We're not
Cancel.
canceled. We're just off
Too many
season,
F words.
Man. No, we're just off
That's what they
season.
say before it gets cancelled.
We're not getting canceled. I'm the showrunner. I'm the network. I'm everything. I'm not canceling this. That was fun though. I had a good time. I think we should give it one more edit each on our own in our free time. You know, maybe fill in that little gap that Mike pointed out. It was a good thing to fill in there, and then we can post this up on what is it? Substack? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's what I use.
Yeah, put it up on your Substack. We can put it up in my Facebook group as well. It's a private group, so it's a nice little incentive to get people in.
Heck yeah.
Share the wealth. Adrian doesn't believe in cancel culture.
Good, you shouldn't.
Yeah, I don't. Louis C.K. is still my favorite comedian. Get over it. Here for the banter, and yes, edit it more and get it up on Amazon. On Amazon, we could use use the story from the first time we did this. Martin and I use this one, and put them together in some sort of ridiculous collection.
Little double bundle.
Little double bundle, put it up. Might be fun. All right,
This was
gentlemen.
about 6,000 words total, I think.
Yeah, I think it clocks in at about that. Let me check it out real quick here. I'm no longer sharing my screen. Martin, what's the word count?
Yes.
It's not showing me that on your
4,973 words.
4,000?
Yeah, so about 5,000 words.
Just under 5? Right on. Cool.
Writers.
Compile the damn stories. Sell the.
That would be the name of the collection.
Compile the damn stories. Yeah, I think he nailed it on that one. All right, well, gentlemen, say your goodbyes to the person at home, and we'll get back together again to do something soon enough. Mike, you first. Tell the people at home what you got going on lately.
Well, so my main goal right now is to actually post on social media again. I don't think I've made a single post in months. So do that, and then I have a novel that's done, pretty much done that I'm gonna publish soon. That's a nice little modern horror story about witches. It was heavily inspired by the movie The Witch, only it's not set in the past, it's set today, and also kind of inspired by the vibe of Pet Cemetery.
Cool.
So publish that hopefully soon, and then this has really made me want to write some more short stories, so I'm gonna get some of those up on Substack and maybe put out another collection eventually this year.
Nice.
So those are my long-term goals for this year.
Very nice. Martin, how about you?
Thanks for watching, Richard. It's been fun.
But this stays up for forever.
Yeah, more people will see it eventually.
I'm Martin. I'm a sci-fi author. Check out Bradley on for more of this. Currently making waves with the McMurdo War, Book 3 in the McMurdo Rift series, and another exciting military sci-fi project that will hopefully see the light of day next year.
Right on. Both Martin and Mike have a link in the description to their websites where you can find all their other things from. I've been your host, Adrian Santiago. I write sci-fi, fantasy, crime thrillers. In this case, they're all in one. Mythic, The Death and Rebirth of Bella Erdman, available now for 99 cents as an ebook. It includes 3 sample chapters from the upcoming full-length novel, which is now available for pre-order. Both of those links are in the description below. Thank you. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you so much. This has been fun, and we'll do more like this again. Martin, I promise the wait will be a lot less this time. We'll do this more frequently from now on. Maybe.
It's a wonderful format.
I'm glad I thought of it. All right, y'all.
The viewer loves it.
Right on, writers. We are out.